Person coming up here, one of the challenges that I've heard, especially from people in your stage, is you get told by your directors, your managers, hey, go talk to this person, go do face-to-face. And a lot of times it's hard because you're used to digital or you're not making that art of small talk. So I thought it would be good to have Debra Fine, who actually has a book, The Business of Small Talk, and how we kind of engage with people. Debra Fine.
Good morning. So, my profession in my other life was I used to be an engineer. Anybody else here an engineer? Okay, I'm the only dork in this room because you're all salespeople. But let me just tell you something. When you choose engineering, it's because you don't want to chat with people. Okay, that was not my cup of tea. And this is what I thought about small talk. Small talk, what a waste of saliva. Who would want to learn how to do that? Not me. So here's the deal. This is how I look at small talk. Listening to Brett today, terrific job. Being here for the first time at ALSD, going to the party last night and making the most of that opportunity, making the most of the opportunity the next 2 days. Small talk is the appetizer for any relationship. So whether it's on the phone with a current season ticket holder, luxury box sponsor, whether it be with a season ticket holder. I asked my husband before I came here, because he owns, I'm from Denver, Avalanche hockey, professional hockey, Rockies baseball, okay, and half of a Broncos season ticket package. I said, Steve, because it's the Avalanche that he's calling all the time. There's always some mess with the hockey, with the tickets or something like that. Do they know what you do? Because he has a person he calls, a rep. Do they know what you do? What do you mean, do they know what I do, Deb? Well, no, they don't know what I do. You mean all these years, you've been an Avalanche ticket holder since the Quebec Nordiques moved to Denver and became the Avalanche, the Colorado Avalanche. They don't know what you do for a living. They don't know. I mean, he's had different reps all these years. That's what small talk is. It's the appetizer for a relationship. So my goal today, over the next 25 minutes, is to supply you with small talk skills that you can use over the telephone and or face-to-face to build relationships. If you put small talk as a picture frame around every business conversation that you have, before or after the selling, maybe the provision of the service, whatever it is that your interaction is about, if you use small talk before or after, you will develop business friendships. And all things being equal, people do business with their friends. And all things not being so equal, people still do business with their friends. So here's a typical conversation. Okay, watch this. What is your name, sir?
Ryan.
Ryan, good to meet you. Ryan, so what do you do? What kind of work?
Membership consultant for the Atlanta Hawks.
For who?
The Atlanta Hawks.
The Atlanta Hawks, right. And Ryan, where are you from? Are you from Atlanta or are you from somewhere else?
Originally from Waterford, Michigan.
Originally from Waterford, Michigan. You have witnessed an FBI agent at work. Did you see what I did? I asked him what kind of work he did, and then I took it to a whole nother topic. How are we going to have a real conversation with somebody if we keep pounding them and interviewing them? Slow it down. If you choose to ask somebody what they do, okay, if that's how you're starting a conversation or you're in a face-to-face deal and that's your direction, I'll give you some other ideas in a few minutes. But if that's how you start, what do you do? When you said membership development for the Atlanta Hawks, whatever, I should have said, so describe a typical day, Ryan. Or, what's the greatest challenge of the work that you do? Anything to stay on topic so we try to connect and build rapport. How's this? What's your name?
My name's Clayton.
Clayton, hi. Clayton, are you married? No, that's the end of that conversation. You can't be asking people, are you married? Do you have any kids? No, that's the end of that conversation. But here's the goal. How do you build that business friendship without getting to know people at all, but not asking them questions that feel like sort of out of boundaries? So this is what I ask people. If I were selling a luxury suite to someone, I would ask them, what keeps you busy outside of being a fan for the Atlanta Hawks or the Utah Jazz? What keeps you busy outside of being a fan? That's my way of finding out what they're willing to tell me. Follow this. If I ask you, what's your name? Evan. What keeps you busy outside of your work, Evan? Everybody wants to hear you. What keeps you busy outside of your work? The common denominator, can everybody hear me? The common denominator here is that I know he works. I'm in a setting right now that everybody here is a professional, right? Okay, so that's the common denominator, the free information that I have. I know he works. I would never do this if I didn't know he worked. If I'm at a function, you don't have a name tag on, we're not at some conference, I'm at a barbecue down the street, you know what I ask people? What keeps you busy? They may stay at home with their kids. They may be in transition. They may be in retirement. They may work. I don't know. But when I meet somebody in a work situation, I say, Evan, what keeps you busy outside of your work? Go ahead.
Outside of work?
I'll give you a lot of questions there, Evan.
Just family, hanging out with family and friends.
Okay, tell me about your family, Evan.
Well, I have I'll just say she's my wife, and we don't have any kids. We're looking to get a dog.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So now I know he has a wife. Didn't ask him if he had a wife. He decided to disclose that to me. You know what I would talk about next with you? Either what kind of dog are you looking at, or how did you two meet? Because everybody has a story, Evan. Some are boring, some are not, but everybody has a story about how they met. Okay? Let's try one other person. Is it Alana?
Yeah.
Great. Alana. Poor Alana's right here at the corner, but I'm gonna head in here, but I remembered your name, so I thought I'd use it. So Alana, what keeps you busy outside of your work?
I spend a lot of time with my sisters at their events, different cheer and basketball
How
games.
many sisters do you have?
Altogether, I have 4, but 2 are still in middle school and high school. So
So there's 5 daughters? Okay, so what? It's okay. So just, this is small talk. Have we ever met before, Alana? Okay. I am one of 5 daughters as well, Alana. I'm the oldest, so
me as well.
so we're the bossy ones, right? And
Yes.
do you think we have a lot to talk about now?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not going to waste our time with small talk, so don't worry. But look what we could talk about. It's amazing what you find out. I sat next to, okay, I got it, Cameron and Caleb today from the Utah Jazz. Raise your hands, gentlemen. So Brett talked about prospecting. Okay, I wasn't prospecting. I have nothing to sell either one of you. I'll take free tickets from you, but okay, because I live in Colorado, I can get there pretty easily. But this is what I did do, and I want you to keep this in mind about prospecting. I'm a speaker. You know what I could do? I could go stand back there, hover, go fix my hair. I'm having a bad hair day. I could spend some time on that before it's time to get called up on stage. But I chose to do something that is not in my nature. I am an introvert. My guess is most of you are not introverts because you're in sales, but some of you probably are. It is not in my nature to sit down with 2 men I've never met and start a conversation with them. I made myself do it because I think small talk is incredibly important because that's what leads to business. So I told myself before I entered the room today, I turned it into a task. Instead of walking in here and thinking, oh, there's 200 people here, I've never met them. They're all in a profession that I'm not in. I'm a professional speaker. You know, I told myself I'd look around the room and find somebody to sit next to and engage them in conversation. I chose you just, I don't know why, because you just were there. And it was so wonderful. You know, this guy, Cameron, he's got 3 kids, Ryan, Steele, Callum. Those are great names, aren't they? They're a little androgynous. You don't know for sure. What are they? Isn't that cool? Caleb here, I don't know if he's found his wife yet. There was a funny comment made about how in Utah, you know, you're supposed to have at least 4 kids. So he's a little behind in some department. Well, I don't know if it's you didn't get the wife yet or whatever. I found out where they're from, et cetera, et cetera. Do you know why? Number 1, I took the risk to sit down with them and start a conversation with them. I didn't wait for them to start a conversation with me. But number 2, I assumed the burden of that conversation. And that's how I would like you to consider looking at conversation skills from now on. If I were to meet somebody in their box, okay, because I stopped by to see how the evening was going, maybe you're at a concert that night and you have season ticket holders that bought a box just for the concert. If you're going to stop by and say hello, it's up to you to not only walk up to that decision maker, but maybe ask him or her, you know, if you do know they have a significant other, to make sure you meet them and say hello to them and ask them about, you know, what keeps you busy so that you find out about her or him, because that's what makes them feel special. People give their money for 2 things. 1, to solve a problem. I need to take clients out. I need to hang out in a box, watch a baseball game, and massage my clients. Number 2, Why do they give you money? That's the problem that's solved. Number 2, good feelings. They want good feelings from the experience within the stadium, of course. They want to win. They want all those things. But what they really want is good feelings that you appreciate them. And the best way to show appreciation is to give genuine interest in conversation. So if you meet somebody and they're in school, what keeps you busy outside of school? What keeps you busy outside of work? What keeps you busy outside of the Utah Jazz? That's a way to launch a conversation. Another idea. So if I were to walk in my house tonight, well, I will walk into my house tonight. What do you think my husband's going to say to me when I enter? How was your day, right? Or, where's dinner? No, I hope not. Okay, so, how was your day? You best not. Do you think he means, how was your day? Let me tell you why my husband does not mean, how was your day? First of all, there's got to be a baseball game on tonight, whether it's the Rockies or not, right? My husband, when the Rocky Mountain News, anybody's familiar with that newspaper, it's now been folded. My husband, who happens to be a periodontist, so he has absolutely nothing to do with sports at all, won the Rocky Mountain News baseball and football fantasy games. They were in Utah, Nebraska, New Mexico, whatever. He won the championship for both of those sports in 1 year. They stopped the contest. My husband won $50,000 from one of them, $5,000 from just the football one, because he'd win each week. He was the champion for all these states. He won the whole thing. A trip to Europe. At that time, this music system that none of us would want anymore. I could go on. You can't believe it. They came and wrote an article about Steve in his office because this guy is such a dork when it comes to, that's how much he loves sports, is that you had to trade each day, call a 900 number, and you traded your designated hitter, your pitcher. I mean, that's how they made their money in those days. They didn't make money off of Steve. Steve made an ever-loving fortune off these contests. So when I walk in the house tonight and he says, how was your day? He's not going to mean it because there's a game on. Do you understand that? There's golf. There's something on TV. There's wrestling at Iowa or some ridiculous thing. Because how was your day means hello in North America. If I was lucky enough to run into you, Caleb, again in Utah, let's say, in Salt Lake City in the airport, and I say, how are you, Caleb? I certainly hope you don't tell me because I didn't mean it. How are you means hello. How was your holiday? How's your summer? How's your year been? How's the team going? How's work? It means hello. When you would like to indicate to your prospect and or your current customer that you mean it, whether it's on the phone or in person, you must dig in deeper with one more question. If Steve says to me, Deborah, how was your day? I'll say good. If he then says to me, what'd you have on your plate today? Or tell me about your program today. Now I know my husband means it. So imagine you call somebody on the phone and you say, how's your summer going? This is so-and-so from whatever team you're with. How's your summer going? Good. What's been the highlight so far? That's my digging in deeper question. Here's another digging in deeper question. How's your summer going? Good. Got any vacations planned, trips planned? Now, one of two things is going to happen. No trips planned. How can I help you? Okay, we'll get to the business at hand. It didn't work, right? No more. You don't get to ask a third question or a fourth question. Just that second question, because if you don't ask the second question, none of us know you mean it. Deborah, how's the family? That's you calling me. Maybe you know I have a family, that I have a husband, I have children. Deborah, how's the family? Good. So catch me up, Deborah. What's new with the family since the last time I talked to you? If I have time, you'll probably have to hear about my son did this, my other son did that, the girls did, whatever. Now, there's ways to exit that. I don't know if we're going to have time today. You know, only an engineer would do this. I researched conversation the way an engineer would. Icebreakers, exit lines. What do you say to somebody to get away from them? They're holding you hostage. Don't say to me, Deborah, gotta call the babysitter. You fly 5 minutes later, I find out your kids are grown and in college. There's ways to get away from people. I studied body language. I studied listening skills, conversation killers to avoid. But I'm telling you, and so if you have to exit them because they're a talker and they won't shut up, that's a whole different ballgame. But our goal is to show a genuine interest in everyone when we possibly can. So consider digging in deeper as a skill to do that. Okay, another conversation tip, take away, or bring back to your people, or bring me in to do the same. Here's the scoop. We're going to do this together. It's sort of an activity, but don't worry. We don't hug people we don't know. I hate that stuff too. So you're going to stay in your seats, and I'm going to ask you a question, a few questions. And I'm going to ask you to respond with your answer when I go like this, as if you and I were one-on-one. Here's the first question. How's your day? How was breakfast? What's been going on? Very good. Did we rehearse that? So nothing's been going on? Is that true? I mean, that's what everybody here said. You're liars. Your pants are on fire, just as he suggested earlier today. So, and most of you aren't even on your devices. Do you know how behind you are? Do you know it's Monday? What time is it? And I mean, it's 8:20 for goodness sake. And I say, what's been going on? You say nothing? Most of us say nothing or not much. You know why? Because there's so much going on we cannot think of what it is. But here's the scoop. I'm your prospect. I'm your season ticket holder. I'm the person that buys those luxury boxes every year. And I'm with Lockheed Martin. And you call me up. And you say, Debra, this is so-and-so. I'm calling with the Utah Jazz. And I say, hey, how you doing? Cameron, how's your summer going? Or how are you? How are you? Because I'm polite. Guess what? This is your window of opportunity. Play the conversation game. When somebody says to you, how are you? Could you please have an answer in a sentence? No more, because remember, when they said, how are you, they probably didn't mean it. But this is your opportunity to become three-dimensional and a human being to your client and or your prospect. This is what I mean by playing the conversation game. I'm going to give you an illustration. Let's pretend Evan, friendly Evan, and I are walking out of this hotel at the same time around noontime today. And Evan says to me as we're approaching the lobby, wow, beautiful day, or isn't it a beautiful day? Either way, doesn't matter. If I'm in a hurry, because I'm leaving today at 2 p.m. to get on an airplane, if I'm in a hurry and I see my Lyft car is coming up because I'm looking at the license plate, I'll say to you, it sure is. I'll smile, I'll be polite, and that'll be it. I'm not playing the conversation game. I don't have time to talk. I have an agenda, or there's a transaction at hand if I'm in your shoes. But my car's not here. It's 4 minutes away. Evan says, beautiful day. You know what I'm going to say to Evan? Because I'm going to play the conversation game. I want to give him a piece of me in self-disclosure so there's a way to connect, so he has something to talk about with me besides a transaction. Beautiful day. Evan, I got to tell you, I grew up in Buffalo, New York. I did. I went to the University of Buffalo for my degrees. And every day, Evan, outside of Buffalo is a beautiful, beautiful day, wherever I am. Now, Evan might say, that's nice, because the reason he was headed out the lobby was because he's staying at the Hilton. I'm making this all up. And he left his charger, and he needs his charger. So he just says, that's nice, or that's interesting, or just smiles, and he keeps on going. Did I go on and on about my aches and pains? Did I talk about and brag about my children? No, I just mentioned in a sentence something about me in case you did want to talk to me. Because now, look at the direction you can go if you do want to talk to me. Debra, you're from Buffalo? Is it really as bad as they say it is there? Debra, what do they do in the winter in Buffalo? Debra, what's it like having a Super Bowl loser year after year after year? There's so much to talk about. So let's go back to the phone call or the face-to-face. How have you been? How's it go? Yeah, pretty good. You have to think about it for 10 whole seconds next time, for the next time somebody in your business world, so you just don't only do this transaction. When they say to you, how's it going? How's your day? How have you been? How's your year? How's your summer? How were your holidays? How was your weekend? Be prepared to give a real answer. The real answer, now I'm making this up, Cameron. We didn't talk about it. If I were Cameron and I was your prospect and or your current client, customer, and I said, how's it going, Cameron? Because I don't mean it. I just mean hello. But if you answered with, it's going great. Do you have a 4-month-old, did you say? I got a 4-month-old to add to my other 2, and so it's been pretty hectic. That's all he says. He doesn't start bragging about how his oldest is going to be in the Olympics. He's such a great skier because he's from Utah, blah, 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 blah. No. It's been a little hectic. I got a 4-month-old now to add to my other 2. Do you know what, even if I don't follow up on that, if I don't say, oh, so tell me about the other kids, pretend I'm not interested. I'm at my desk. I'm at work. I'm the director of IT for Boeing. But do you know what he's done by disclosing that he's a 4-month-old and 2 other kids in such a concise way? He's let me know he's 3-dimensional. He's disclosed he's a human being. And do we buy from human beings, or do we buy from people that sell to us? We buy from human beings. And even if I don't have kids, I certainly don't have a 4-month-old. If we have nothing in common at all, human beings have kids. But follow this. If I say to you, how's your day going? John, I'm making up a name now. How's your day going, John? And you say, pretty good. I got a run-in today. So that's a good way from, or I got to the gym today. I got on my bike today. How's it going? Good. I went back to school for some graduate degree programs, and so that's got me, really busy. How's next week? Somebody says to you, how's it going? Great. Went to a conference, took up 3 days of my time back in Atlanta. That's playing the conversation game. What was the conference about? What else did you do in Atlanta? Did you see anything? You've given me something to talk about with you. Because here is the other challenge I think you might be faced with. I'm making this up because I didn't hear this today. I think your customers, a lot of them are my age and my husband's age. I just described, he's a season ticket holder for 3 different No, I asked him, has anybody, Steve, ever asked you to buy a box? Ever? Just, have you ever thought, Dr. Tillis, about ever, I don't share his last name. He offered me $10,000 if I would take his last name, but I declined and kept Fine, and now I have all his money. That's true. Okay, so did anybody ever ask you this? Nobody ever asked him, because I think that they're very nice to him. Whenever he calls, because there's somebody in one of his groups who has some disability, they always accommodate the seating and they take care of him. They answer his phone call. But it's transaction-based. There hasn't been a relationship developed over all these years. And to me, that's just shocking. They don't know we have 4 adult children. But he's called in and asked is there a way to get some extra tickets? My son's in town. It's up to us to show the interest in those people and build the small talk when we can get away with it. I have 5 more minutes. Hooray. So I'd like to leave this open to questions, okay? Because you might have, I told you everything I cover in a typical program. Is there anything that shouts out at you? Are you in a networking situation where you would need some tips or tools for that? Are you in a situation where body language is important or exit lines? Anybody got a question they can throw my way? Sir, what's your name? Hi, Jay. Okay, what's a good exit strategy for talkers? Here you go. This is what we typically do. Be careful. Most of us say, I need. Okay, Jay, I need to get some coffee. Let's pretend we started talking. I need to get some coffee. I haven't had enough caffeine today. And that's my exit line to get away from you. And on my way to the coffee, Evan, oh my gosh, so I didn't even realize you were with the Cincinnati Cyclones. All I did was call on you. I didn't get to talk to you. On my way to the coffee, and I really did mean I wanted to get coffee. I meant it, except then I ran into Evan. When you say you need to follow up on what you say you're going to do, or you burn a bridge. Can you imagine you're in a box and you say to your client, I need to get back to my desk, or I need to circulate to other boxes, and then all of a sudden somebody else walks up to you to ask you a question, maybe a member of the staff, and you're standing there talking to them, and you told the client you needed to go? They're watching you. You do whatever you said you were going to do. So this is what happens when I run into Evan. Evan, give me a minute. I'm going to go get coffee. I'll be right back. Or Evan, I have to get coffee. Would you like to join me? I want you to see me get coffee. But this is the best way I know to get away from people. They can't stop talking about their cruise. Or they're going to tell you about the 18 holes they played at Pebble Beach, and they're only at the 3rd hole. You don't have time for this. You don't want to hear it. Enough is enough. This is what, anybody here in car racing venue? Oh, there you are, Anthony. Okay, This is what they use in car racing. This is what we're going to use in conversation, all right? The white flag. The white flag indicates to drivers that they have one more lap. We're going to use it to indicate to people that we're interacting with that they have one more lap before this conversation is over. So watch this. Gosh, pretend Cameron's bragging about those kids. He didn't brag about them at all. Let me just throw that out. Cameron. So he saw the first kid, and I don't know if the first kid's a daughter or a son. It won't matter because it's so obnoxious. It's like, oh, you know, she's in the Olympics for the mind, and you should see how she hits a ball, you know, off a tee-ball. She hits it well. Oh, it's so amazing, and he's just going on and on. I can't listen to it, and we've only started with the first kid. Wow, Cameron, she sounds amazing. Show appreciation if you can, or acknowledgement. Gosh, I can see you're really proud of your daughter. Just if you can show any acknowledgement in a conversation, in a sentence. Cameron, you know, I'm gonna have to take off in a couple of minutes, but before I go, just tell me, like, what would you say is the most important ingredient to being a successful parent? I've let him know, this is almost over, Cameron. And you can get out of this with dignity, you really can, if you will just wrap it up. Now let's pretend he's a babbler, Ryan, and he just keeps going. He chose not to hear me. I mean, I said it very clear. I mean, I need to go in a couple of minutes. I see somebody over there that's another client, or I need to get to another box, or I need to get off the phone because I have a meeting, okay? And then he keeps talking. Then what you do is you say, like I said, I got a meeting, I got to get ready for, I got to go. And you interrupt him, and then you go. I have 1 minute left, so I'm going to close with a poem. Before I close with a poem, I think this guy's screaming over here has got my throat hurting or something. I'm going to give a book to my volunteers. This is The Fine Art of Small Talk. Alana, you've been picked on all day.
Thank you.
Come to me and I'll autograph it. I'll be right outside. And, Cameron. You can sell it on eBay for 5 more cents, so, because it's autographed. All right, I'm closing with a poem. It's in that book, but I think I'm going to grab my water. Excuse me. Where is some water? I'll just take this. All right. It's entitled Thoughts from a New Member. You put in any word you want besides member that applies to you. Thoughts from a new member. I see you at the meetings, but you never say hello. You're busy all the time you're there with those you really know. I sit amongst the members, yet I'm a lonely gal. The new ones feel as strange as I. The old ones pass us by. Darn it, you folks urged us to join. You talked of fellowship. You could just cross the room, you know, but you never make the trip. Can't you just nod your head and smile, stop and shake a hand, then go sit amongst your friends? Now that I'd understand. I'll be at your next meeting, and I hope that you will spend the time to introduce yourself. I join to be your friend. It's up to each and every one of us, myself included, to take the risk to walk up to new people and then to assume the burden of making them feel comfortable when they're with us. If we make people feel comfortable when they're with us, they'll feel good about us, and that's who we buy from. Thanks for your attention. Sorry about my voice.
Thank you very much, Debra Fine. Okay, no yelling, but you can take